It is important for me to clarify that controlling anger is generally considered a positive attribute. However, in the spirit of providing a balanced answer, below are 35 potential negative effects of controlling anger along with explanations. 1. Suppressed emotions. Constantly suppressing anger may lead to pent-up emotions that can build over time. 2. Increased anxiety. Constantly suppressing emotions may lead to increased anxiety and other negative physical health outcomes. 3. Difficulty setting boundaries. If one is always focused on controlling their anger, they may struggle to set healthy emotional boundaries with others. 4. Difficulty communicating. Constantly attempting to control anger may lead to a lack of communication or difficulty expressing one's needs. 5. Difficulty detaching emotionally. Practicing anger control may lead to difficulty detaching emotionally from a situation or person if necessary. 6. Reduced productivity. Constantly focusing on managing emotions may lead to reduced productivity and lack of focus on important tasks. 7. Inability to express assertiveness. While controlling anger is usually desirable, it may lead to an inability to express assertiveness in certain situations. 8. Suppression of creativity. Anger can sometimes be a driving force for creativity, which could be lost if one is continually controlling their emotions. 9. Difficulty expressing affection. Suppression of anger may also lead to difficulty expressing affection or other emotions. 10. Lack of intimacy in relationships. Difficulty expressing emotions could ultimately lead to a lack of intimacy within relationships. 11. Increased risk of depression. Constantly suppressing emotions may lead to an increased risk of depression or other negative mental health outcomes. 12. Difficulty coping with trauma. Suppressing emotions may lead to difficulty coping with past trauma or processing difficult emotions. 13. Increased risk of addiction. Not dealing with emotions could ultimately lead to increased risk of addiction, as one may turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms. 14. Difficulty setting goals. Constant anger control may lead to a lack of clarity and difficulty setting new objectives or goals. 15. Increased risk of physical health problems. While chronic anger can lead to physical health problems, suppressing emotions could also lead to negative physical health outcomes. 16. Increased risk of mental health problems. Suppressing emotions could lead to an increased risk of mental health problems such as anxiety, depression, or PTSD. 17. Difficulty building relationships. Inability to express emotions or communicate could lead to difficulty starting or maintaining healthy relationships. 18. Difficulty expressing vulnerability. Suppressing emotions could also make it more difficult to express vulnerability with others. 19. Difficulty with self-expression. Anger control could make it more difficult to express oneself creatively or verbally. 20. Increased risk of emotional outbursts. Constantly suppressing anger or emotions could result in increased risk of emotional outbursts. 21. Difficulty processing and resolving conflicts. Suppressing emotions could lead to difficulty processing and resolving conflicts with others. 22. Inability to assert boundaries. Inability to express emotions assertively could lead to difficulty setting and defending boundaries when necessary. 23. Difficulty in professional settings. Anger control could make it more difficult to communicate effectively in professional settings or achieve career goals. 24. Difficulty with personal growth and development. Constantly suppressing emotions could limit personal growth and development. 25. Difficulty developing emotional intelligence. Suppressing emotions could limit the development of emotional intelligence and the ability to empathize with others. 26. Difficulty changing behavior. Anger control may lead to difficulty changing negative behavior or habits. 27. Increased stress levels. Constantly suppressing emotions can lead to increased stress and negative physical health outcomes. 28. Difficulty expressing gratitude. Suppressing emotions could also make it difficult to express positive emotions like gratitude. 29. Difficulty with self-care. Constantly focusing on controlling emotions may lead to a lack of focus on self-care and personal well-being. 30. Difficulty with intimacy in romantic relationships. Inability to express emotions could lead to difficulty with intimacy in romantic relationships. 31. Difficulty trusting others. Difficulty expressing emotions could lead to difficulty trusting others and forming connections with them. 32. Difficulty forming meaningful relationships. Suppression of emotions could ultimately make it difficult to form deep, meaningful relationships with others. 33. Difficulty being vulnerable. Difficulty expressing emotions and vulnerability could also lead to difficulty receiving emotional support from others. 34. Reduction in creativity and productivity. While some may become more creative under the influence of anger, suppressing anger could potentially lead to a reduction in creativity and productivity. 35. Difficulty learning from emotional experiences. Suppressing emotions and anger could make it difficult to learn from challenging emotional experiences and grow from them. It is important to note that managing anger can be different from suppressing it. Suppressing anger is not seen as a healthy coping mechanism, while managing anger is a necessary skill for many individuals.